Nature Breakthroughs with Dr. Wild Ben Goldman. Conversations with changemakers in a world gone mad. To discover what you need for personal, organizational, and societal change, get your free download of 3 ancient rituals smart entrepreneurs use to bounce back from shifts in the market and inside themselves. Go to www.naturebreakthroughs.com.
Yes, you pull them till they bite down. On the lies that you built from my doubt. I don't want money, I don't want cars, I just want to be free.
Has your life come to a screeching halt in these crazy times? Have recent changes made you reassess what you're doing, how you'll get by, your relationships, or even your purpose in life? This podcast is for people facing any kind of major transition in their lives, their work or business. I'll be talking with people who've successfully navigated change or who are noted experts on various aspects of change, organizational, societal, and personal. Some of my guests so far include a scholar on social movements and political change, a master fundraiser who knows the secrets to growing nonprofits, high-performance coaches on how to get the most out of life, an advocate for formerly incarcerated individuals who helps them adapt to their newfound freedom, artists who use nature and technology and beauty to reveal new ways of interacting with the world. I'll be interviewing scientists and healers, naturalists and technologists, entrepreneurs, inventors, and angel investors, people from all walks of life who've been important forces of change in their own right. The conversations usually take an hour or so, and I'll explore the guests' personal as well as professional experiences with and knowledge of change. I'm Dr. Wild Ben Goldman, and I've learned a lot from these talks so far, and I'm sure you will too. I'm basically a monk nowadays, as are we all. I'm talking with folks from my attic studio, and I'm glad you could join me, though I wish under different circumstances. I've been doing the monk thing for quite a while, however, long before the coronavirus hit, for nearly a decade after things fell apart for me personally. This isn't entirely true because the way of the monk is what's called the second way of spiritual work, the way of the heart. The first way is the way of the body, the fakir, who sleeps on a bed of nails, walks on fire, or spins like a dervish. The third way is the yogi, the way of the mind over body, which I've also practiced for years, until the yoga studio on my corner was shut down during the pandemic. What I teach is the fourth way, the way of the householder or the sly one, the way of the coyote. It's about developing human potential in our ever-changing daily world. And without doubt, these changes are happening at an ever more furious rate and magnitude, largely because of what humans are doing on and to this earth. I used to be in the public eye. I was an advisor to the Clinton administration and worked with all levels of government from the United Nations to state and local agencies down to the nitty-gritty of grassroots activism. My work as a young man was at the forefront of fights against toxic pollution and racial injustice across America. I conducted groundbreaking research that launched what's called the environmental justice movement. I had an early hand in generating many of the ideas that are now heralded in the Green New Deal. One time, I even ran for mayor, where I live, in one of the world's hotspots for political corruption, Hudson County, New Jersey, home of the Sopranos and such. Half of the politicians around here end up in jail. The other half lose. That's only overstating things a bit. I know because I lost. And on election day, my election workers were literally beaten up at the polls as we watched money being handed out by our opponents. My doctorate is in public administration with specialties in risk analysis, data science, and executive leadership. Risk analysis is essentially the science of change, a robust approach to characterizing and quantifying how a particular cause, like an agent, an event, or an action, could yield a particular result, usually in order to identify, prevent, or correct something bad, something really bad. So, yeah, I've studied epidemiology and was even once on a steering committee of the National Association of County and City Health Officials, who now face the biggest epidemiological crisis in history. As a resident of the New York metro area, I'm in one of the greatest areas of risk in the world, and also literally watched the second plane hit the World Trade Center from the end of my street. I even have Polaroids of the explosion that I snapped at the very moment. And my 80-something mom told me yesterday she tested positive for COVID-19. Fortunately, she's feeling okay now. I'm recording this at the end of March 2020, so it's still early in the pandemic. I became known as a turnaround specialist, rescuing organizations from being shuttered. The last time I did that, the executive I replaced, along with his first lieutenant, were nearly killed by a hammer-wielding lunatic at their offices in a down-and-out section of Newark, New Jersey. Despite the Great Recession and several murders on the corner, I went on to quadruple the organization's budget, increasing youth served by tenfold and helping revitalize one of America's most diverse and struggling cities. The Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation said we were the anchor to the neighborhood's revitalization. Queen Latifah visited. So did the president. I also invented a new way of framing pictures that I sold to the Museum of Modern Art, which they used for Andy Warhol prints. And my paintings have exhibited in galleries and museums in 33 cities throughout the world. So who am I? I'm an author, an expert, a former environmental leader and political candidate, a statistician and data analyst, an artist and patented inventor, a CEO of several organizations in both the for-profit and nonprofit sectors. I'm a father, son, brother, warrior, lover, magician, a man, an animal, and an earthling. I'm mostly water and some stardust, too, just like you. The common thread is that I've become an expert of change, societal, organizational, and personal. Nearly a decade ago, I left the last executive position I held, running New Jersey's oldest contemporary art space. My wife left me, and then everything fell apart. I hit rock bottom, and ever since have been exploring all kinds of paths for personal and spiritual development. You name it, I've probably tried it. Embodying a Black Panther during holotropic breathwork, sweating in a Death Valley vision fast, meditating for weeks on end, studying with mystics and high-performance experts, purging from ayahuasca, attending couples therapy, men's retreats, and much, much more. Meanwhile, I also shepherded my kids through their turbulent teens, and one of whom recently came out as transgender. So I've been intimately touched by change in almost every way imaginable, including surviving a near-death car accident and other life-threatening situations. So that's why I started the Nature Breakthroughs podcast, conversations with change makers in a world gone mad, along with a variety of programs to help people deal with change. I know what I'm offering has worked for me to get me unstuck and to move beyond a rock-bottom situation. I've devoted my life to helping other people go through nature breakthrough experiences so they can lead more fulfilling lives and help humanity. Nature is a key part of the medicine that I offer in my programs because I believe that our disconnect from the natural environment, as well as our loss of ancient traditions for dealing with change, are at the root of most of the world's greatest problems, whether it's a deadly virus that came from encroaching upon the habitats of wild animals, to global warming and toxic pollution from thoughtless use of natural resources, to the many diseases of despair that lead people to drugs and suicide, to the rampant violence and social disparities that can be seen throughout the world. So I take people into the woods, literally and figuratively, using ancient techniques that have been updated for contemporary times so that you can find your true nature in nature. I look forward to sharing what I've learned with you, sharing interesting conversations with fascinating change makers, and helping all of us to create a better world and have some fun along the way. Thanks for listening to the Nature Breakthroughs podcast with Dr. Wild Ben Goldman to discover what you need for personal, organizational, and societal change. Get your free download of 3 ancient rituals smart entrepreneurs use to bounce back from shifts in the market and inside themselves. Go to www.naturebreakthroughs.com.